Hello, I am your Rusame reader, Crowsong, and today I will be reading to you from Royal Guard by Muriel Wright. Now, on to Chapter 6. Happy Birthday. Today was June 11th, a week or two after the aftermath of the library thing. A young American boy was up on the palace walls, one of his legs propped on the wall while the other dangled off the edge. The prince had escaped his music lessons and hid there. His royal guard was trying to find him. America hummed a tune while waiting to be found, because he knew the Russian was more than capable of finding him very soon. The American heard crunching of grass, but it didn't sound like Russia. He glanced over at the noise. A young girl with her hair tied up stood there, with a basket full of laundry in hand. Her flag was a bright shade of yellow and blue. She had an ocean blue flower on her ear. It was similar to the flowers from the royal garden that was gifted to the 4 royal siblings to teach them about responsibility. "May I ask what your highness is doing up there?" she sarcastically asked. She knew he had escaped, but still asked. Don't remind me." The prince hushed her and shut his eyes. "Ukraine, right?" He snapped his fingers with a proud, shit-eating grin plastered on his face. Ukraine stood there, dumbfounded. "What an honor that your highness knows who I, a mere maid, is," she dramatically implied. America couldn't help but chuckle a little. This lady had sass and a sense of humor, which is pretty rare nowadays. "You know who I'm hiding from already," he scoffed with a smile on his face. "I indeed do. The tall, good-looking Russian over there," she pointed with her chin. "You know him? Are you guys friends?" "I do. My young sister has been sticking around him for some reason. She introduced me to him." The Ukrainian girl placed her basket of clothes down and started hanging them up to dry. America burst out laughing. "I never knew such a boring, strict person like him could ever get friends." "Maybe refrain talking shit about him for the next few days. His birthday is soon, so maybe that will suffice as a good enough gift." He could tell that she was offending the prince in a joking manner. "His birthday is tomorrow?" Ukraine turned to the prince with a "Are you fucking serious?" expression. "Aren't you technically the closest person to him? How in the world do you not know his birthday?" The prince could not reply. "It is tomorrow. My little sister wanted to give him a gift and throw a small party for him." The girl neatened out another piece of cloth. "She's really insistent on it since he never really had a childhood," Ukraine added. The American was silent. He never thought there would be someone who knew his guard that much. He had the sudden urge to know more about Russia. He realized he was spacing out and turned to the girl again, who paid him no mind as she hung up the laundry. "I'm gonna join in," he said, determined and proud. "You don't need to trouble yourself, your highness," she said in a monotone voice that somewhat resembled Russia's. "I insist. It's okay. Besides, I want to do this." "Well, okay. Thank you, your highness." A soft smile grew on her face. From a distance, the Russian noticed both figures smiling as they talked. His eyebrows twitched slightly as his neutral facial expression grew into a small frown. He walked up to the two of them. "Prince, get down. Your instructor is still waiting for you," he said with a twinge of annoyance in his voice. "Nuh-uh!" The prince crossed his arms and pouted. Russia glanced at Ukraine. She noticed. He bowed at her slightly, and then turned back to the prince. America had already stood up on the wall and started walking with his arms straight at his sides, while humming a tune. "Prince, you'll fall. Be careful." He followed. America remembered an old scene where he fell from the wall back when he was 10, escaping from his instructor. No one was there to catch him, though. He ended up fracturing his leg. "I wonder what would happen if I—" He tipped sideways on purpose and fell. His guard's eyes widened, but he caught him in his arms without faltering. America was gripping his neck very tightly with both arms. Despite everything, he was still quite scared of falling. "Are you okay, Prince?" He finally opened his eyes. "Yes, I'm fine. I was just clumsy," the prince lied after he fell on purpose. Though the fact that his guard would catch him without even a warning was quite reassuring. The guard put him down gently. "Thanks." The prince beamed with a bright smile. "Your lessons are already over by now." The Russian took out his pocket watch from his pocket. "Where did you get the watch? It's very nice." The prince tilted his head in curiosity. "A young maid in Belarus. She gave it to me." The corners of America's mouth twitched. "Okay, I'll be off to my room. Now you can spend the rest of the day doing whatever." America waved at both of them before practically sprinting to his room. After turning the first corner, he came face to face with his brother Canada, almost bumping into him. "Geez, watch where you're going." The Canadian cocked his head. "Sorry, bro. Don't be so uptight." America playfully punched his shoulder. "I saw what happened." He crossed his arms. "You two better not become homos. You looked like a queen, America." Canada raised an eyebrow. "No fucking way. Stop joking around. I'm going to my room now. I ain't dealing with your shit, you nerd." He pushed past his younger brother and entered his room. In the American's head, he had already been silently planning on what he would do for the Russian's birthday tomorrow. Canada sighed. "That troublemaker, what does he get out of acting like a homo with his guard?" he complained under his breath. "I'm worried for his reputation." Later that evening, knocks were heard on the kitchen doors. One of the royal cooks swung the door open. The prince stood there. "Your Highness, what are you doing here?" "I need to speak to my mom's pastry chef. Have you seen her?" His eyes searched around. "Yes, she's over there." The cook pointed to another cook. She was a middle-aged lady with an apron neatly tied around her waist. "If it isn't my favorite prince," she noticed America walking up to her. "What do you mean? I'm everyone's favorite prince." He gave a smug look. "What brings you here, Your Highness, on this fine day?" She chuckled and rolled her eyes. "Paris, you're my mom's best pastry chef." He leaned on the counter. "Apparently so," she humbly replied. "Can you make a cake for me?" How odd. Why would you want a cake now? I serve cakes every dinner. Be patient, Your Highness. It's not for me. It's for someone. It's their birthday tomorrow. The prince stared at the macaroons that Paris was making on the counter. I see you'd like to impress this person. She gave a sly grin. I guess. Can you teach me how to make one? He rephrased what he said. Of course, of course. It's not every day you see the narcissistic, arrogant prince actually want to impress someone, she jokingly exclaimed. Ouch. They started making the cake. She tutored him from the side. The prince's movements were graceful and fast. He whisked the batter quite quickly. Good, good. Now we mold it and put it in the coal stove. She gestured the prince to the large black coal oven. He carefully placed the cake in the oven and shut the door. Only now did he realize how messy he was. His clothes were all tainted with white splotches of flour. Paris moved closer to the royal boy. So, tell me about this person. She wiggled her eyebrows. Who? The prince said, obliviously. The one who you're trying to impress, of course. Let's see, they're just really nice to me, and it's fun to have them around, the prince dreamily said. Paris let out a Do you fancy them? She asked out of curiosity. I don't think it's even allowed. America averted his gaze. Forbidden love, I see. Paris sighed with her eyes closed. Who said I loved them? It's okay, Prince. I was joking, she burst out laughing. I think the cake is done. Let's get it out. Don't forget to cover your hands. It's hot. After they took it out and placed it on the table, it smelled really good. It's a pretty nice cake for a first time, she complimented honestly. Of course! I'm the most talented prince you're talking to, he joked. Of course. Paris took out the decorations. What color do you want it? Suddenly, Russia's amber eyes flashed in his mind, those beautiful ones that stared at him one day in the library. Amber red should be fine, he said, his face turning a slight shade of pink, but it wasn't very noticeable. All right. They both decorated the cake. America wasn't very neat or good at this in general, but Paris reassured him that it was pretty good for his first time. Can you keep the cake? I'll take it tomorrow, America said as they finished up. Of course. Now hurry off to dinner. I have to finish up the pastries for dinner later. The prince scurried off as he exited the kitchen, gaining a few odd glances from other cooks there. As he walked to his room, he noticed the Russian walking around. They both noticed each other. Prince, what happened? The Russian walked up to him. America only now noticed how dirty and messy he was. It's nothing. I was just in the kitchen. The Russian extended a hand and bent down, cleaning the flour marks off of his face with his thumb. Please be cleaner next time. Of course, America said with his face turning a slight red. Thank goodness it was night time, and hardly noticeable that way. He pushed past and entered his room. He cleaned up while tracing the areas on his face where Russia placed his thumb. What the hell is wrong with me? The next day, everything went the same, nothing out of the ordinary. But when evening fell, America rushed over to the kitchen. Paris noticed him and gave him a smile. Here. She handed him the cake. Be careful, and, she added when he was about to leave, good luck. America walked over to the outdoor patio they had. A table was already ready. There was only a few people there. Suddenly, Belarus ran in, dragging Russia. When he saw the patio, his eyes widened. Happy birthday! They all shouted. He walked closer. America handed him a cake. Here, I made this. It isn't very good, though. Russia stared at it for a while. It's nice. It just needs a few improvements. Thank you, he said in a monotone voice. His deep accent rang in the American's ears. America noticed a red hue and a tiny smile on his face, but he shook it off as him probably hallucinating. That is the end of this chapter. I hope you have enjoyed. Once again, I tell y'all can join me in the Discord. I swear, we have a fun community. Please join us in the Discord. We have fun. Also, if you are curious, my favorite vocal warm-up that I have is the "teach me how to be a bastard" phrase. It helps me with so many character voices. It's great. And if you're at all interested, maybe I'll make a clip and post it on the Discord. Well, that's all we have time for now. Talk to you guys later. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow.